What's up everybody? In today's video, I'm using an upcycled cardboard box and turning it into a welcome sign that looks like weathered wood. If you've been here before, you know I started getting into cardboard art a few months ago, and I'm super psyched with how this DIY turned out. If you're new here, you should definitely subscribe below to see more DIY project videos. I post on Fridays and some Sundays and would love to have you join our growing group of peeps. Don't forget to do all the stuff to get notifications of my uploads. I'm Jen and this is Valley Buzzsaw. Now let's get into it. I got started by measuring, then cutting my squares from this huge box. For this DIY, I cut 4 pieces of cardboard at about 15 inches by 15 inches. Not the final measurement, but we'll get to that in a minute. I brought the squares inside and glued them together using Aleene's wood glue. I love this stuff and I use it in small DIYs all the time because it's not just for wood. It's perfect for bonding cardboard too. And it dries relatively quick so I can keep moving. I'll add affiliate links in the description for everything I'm using. You don't pay more, but I make a small commission every time you shop using my links. That helps me to keep creating, and I truly appreciate your support. I left the stack to dry, weighting it down with some books for about an hour. We're gonna take off these books. Hopefully this is glued together now. It shouldn't take very long. Let's see. Yep. That's pretty rock solid. All right, next up, the only thing I have to do is cut back the top because these are all very different heights and I really want them to all match, so I'm just gonna go with, this is the smallest here, and then the sides are a little janky, but I think once I put on the Mod Podge and stuff and compound, it's gonna be fine. So let's just get to cutting this. I used my X-ACTO knife and evened off the top. My final measurement came in at about 15 inches wide by 13.5 inches tall by about an inch thick. When the glue dried, I sanded down a blob of joint compound. I'd use the other side instead, but I'm going for a weathered wood look for this DIY, and the folds in this piece really help to mimic wood planks. I wiped off the dust with a clean rag. Then it was time to start Mod Podge. I'm using single-ply table napkins for this. They should dry with a bit of texture, and that will help add to the weathered wood look. It only took about 10 minutes to cover the whole thing. Once the top was done, I added a reinforcement layer to all 4 corners and the sides. So I've been watching a ton of cardboard art creators on YouTube lately, and one of my favorites is Dream Fairy DIY. She uses plaster or spackle when she's going for a wood grain effect, and her videos inspired me to give joint compound a try. I used a trowel to coat the edges with an even-ish layer. I worked with this quite a bit on each edge until it felt right. I troweled it on, but I used my finger to even it across the surface and the corners. Compound has a good open time to work or rework the material, so it's one of my favorite mediums to work with. Once the sides dried, I could start adding compound to the top. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed trying different tools to get different effects on this DIY. And I really love how it came out actually looking like weathered wood. I think I did a pretty darn good job on this. For my first try, I'm really excited with how this actually turned out.
The brown boxes in the living room. My life is in a never-ending state of that old transition. I got them piled up high in the corner of the kitchen, and I'm itching just to find a little bit of unpacked nutrition. All this crap I've accumulated, and I've waited for a place that's big enough to fit it into. Onward, upward, running with a new herd. Too small, you all gotta get it transferred. Packing and I'm stacking and I'm making all my crap fit. Gotta shove it all into the brown boxes.
I softly ran a 220 grit sandpaper over everything to give it a light sand, then took it outside to remove all the dust.
Don't try to lift that box.
I want a beachy weathered driftwood look for this sign, so I added this base paint layer of latex eggshell. I've used Grey Squirrel in a bunch of my DIYs, so this should coordinate nicely with other things in our home. Also, this is the darkest color I'll use, and I want to really get it down into the crevices and nooks to give that old worn wood vibe. I don't want any compound still exposed.
I ain't seen since 6 sizes back. I got piles of unmatched socks and so on.
When the base color dried, I came in with a chip brush and tan acrylic craft paint to do some dry brushing. I chose a color about 2 or 3 shades lighter than the base color. Using a paper towel, I get rid of most of the paint, then used a light hand to smooth it over the surface.
I should just have a garage sale. Maybe I should live a life.
Once that dried, I used an even lighter cream color to hit the most raised areas. I dragged the brush in numerous directions for a more realistic look.
Cause a new place got a lot of room in the garage, and I sure hate to unpack. I think I might just save some time and leave all of it stacked in brown boxes. In brown boxes.
Since I wanted this DIY to have a thrown together beachy vibe, I didn't want the stencil to be too perfect. I took rough measurements to get a feel for the middle, but I really eyeballed the placement. Though, I made small pencil marks in 2 corners so I could get it lined up generally centered. I used my favorite Stenciled's repositionable spray adhesive, and I made sure to protect the surface of my piece while I sprayed the glue. With the stencil lined up and pressed firmly into place, I could get started on the paint. Again, this won't be super perfect, but that's kind of the goal. I pounced the acrylic paint on with a light stippling motion using a sponge applicator. Whole design got a coat of denim blue color, but I wanted the welcome part to stand out. So I added some of the same cream color that I used for the wood graining to lighten up the blue. This took a couple tries to get the color I wanted, but that just added to the weathered vibe. The only thing left to do was to add some sisal rope to the back for a hanger. I used hot glue and I really coated to make sure it wouldn't go anywhere. Like an unconscionable amount of glue. I think I used a whole stick per side. And with that, my upcycled cardboard welcome sign was complete. Like I said at the beginning, I love how this turned out, and I can't wait to hang it on my front door. I'm especially stoked that the bubbling settled out once everything dried. What do you peeps think? Leave me a comment and let me know down below. Also, please feel free to subscribe if you're new. I post on Fridays and some Sundays, and I love to see our little community growing so fast. Don't forget to like the video if you're still here watching. I had a ton of fun making this upcycled cardboard craft DIY thing today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Later, peeps!